Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of our podcast, Just Us Being Us. I'm your host, Adella Relentless, and I'm here with my two co-hosts.
Hi, I'm Red Rebecca, the chaotic good one.
I am BugBee, and I am just alive today.
And I'm clearly still normal.
Debatable.
I don't really think that's ever going to change between the two of you.
Probably not.
I like it that way.
And as of our furry co-host, it's just Apollo. I don't know where Hades is. He's just wandering around here somewhere. Eventually, he'll join us. Maybe, I don't know. Just snub his face in the camera.
Probably.
He
Won't be
that.
mad about it.
I don't think so. He'll just be like, "What's up?" All right, guys. So for today's episode, we are going to be talking about OCD. You guys have heard me mentioned in like previous episodes that I actually have an underlying case of OCD with a lot of my mental health struggles. And truthfully, I don't really talk about it too much because as in terms of mental health struggle, I feel like my OCD is probably the most manageable for me, and it seems to be the one that I struggle with the least, just because in my case with OCD, I feel like it's very beneficial to my life, but I also don't know if that's just like my safety mechanism where it's just like everything's fine despite the world being on fire around me. Truthfully, I feel like there's a very big misconception with OCD. And again, none of us are mental health professionals. We have mental health issues. Just
we have mental health experience.
Yes, we are just but
we live it, we don't teach it.
Yes, we do not teach anything along the sorts. And really anything that we say on the show, in full disclaimer, it's just to us talking about our experiences and how we personally cope with it. So please do not take this as gospel. Like if you feel that you need help in any professional capacity, please go see a therapist. Like they are the trained professionals. We fully support the concept of therapy, or not concept, but we fully support therapy and going and getting the help that you need in order to get past a lot of your struggles. So please do not rely on us as mental health professionals.
I would not suggest relying on us at all.
Yeah, no.
We're happy to talk about the struggles, but
yes.
And share how we deal with them.
Yeah. And obviously as this podcast grows, like we like the idea of building a community that, you can talk to others and gain friendships and things like that. We fully encourage that. But in terms of actually getting advice and professional advice to help you through things, therapists are where it's at.
Yeah.
So definitely go if you think you need it. Again, I cannot emphasize that enough. I started therapy just recently, and it has been the best decision I have ever made. Granted, I've been in and out of therapy, as I feel life requires it, but it took me forever to get back into it.
It did.
I know the struggle of how difficult that can be.
Big step.
It is a very big step.
I can vouch. It has helped her
Miss
a lot.
Rebecca.
Yes, ma'am. That is me. That is my name.
We're both trying to get a Red Rebecca over here to go to therapy.
It's not that I dislike it. It's more just trying to find the time to go.
And the right therapist.
That was my excuse too. And my schedule's just as busy as yours, if not worse.
And the right therapist. That's a big one.
Yes.
That is a big deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there is nothing wrong with switching your therapist. Like the reality is that both the therapist and you have to kind of coexist with each other.
Build a rapport.
Yeah. And if you don't have that, the therapist isn't going to be able to do their job effectively, and you're not going to be able to get the help you need. So it's never anything personal with the therapist. It's just they're not the right one for you. Right. It's a relationship. You really have to pick the right person for you. I love my therapist. She's great. Like I mentioned this before. I go through BetterHelp in order to
not sponsored.
Yeah, not sponsored. And if there are ads that are playing about BetterHelp, we have no idea, and we had nothing to do with that. We don't get to pick the ads that play on our channels.
Yeah.
So, but in all honesty, like our biggest thing about it is that, you know, with my therapist, she's fantastic. She is very great at listening to my problems. She's super amazing at pinpointing what's really going on with me, and she's fantastic mostly at listening to me, and I think I said that first, but I can't emphasize that enough. It's not that she ever looks at me like, oh, you're just complaining. I
Yeah.
never get that sense of her. And truthfully, if you get a therapist that does that, then you know that
You
they
need a
shouldn't.
different therapist.
Yeah, you need a different therapist, and they definitely should not be a therapist. But the reality is, like, she is very good at pinpointing a lot of the techniques, and the nice thing about what I've realized with her is that she'll give me techniques to try, and like in the next session we will review and kind of see how some of these techniques have been working for me. And when I feel like, you know, either A, the technique hasn't been really working, or she feels like I need something different, we go about kind of adjusting stuff. So it's been fantastic, and it's been a very, very good experience. The nice thing is obviously with BetterHelp, it's all digital, so I just do my therapy wherever.
Yeah.
And it's been great. So OCD, surprisingly, is not one of the things I talk about a lot in therapy. Like, a lot of my like discussions involve my anxiety and depression, and because those are the ones I really struggle with the most. And I still say it to this day, how those two go together, I will never understand it. Maybe I will one day, who knows? You know, maybe somebody in the comments can explain to me what the heck is going on. It is just a vicious, odd cycle.
Yeah, it
But
is.
in terms of my OCD, that I think is probably something that we decided is a good topic for today, just because we do know that there are people out there that struggle with OCD. And it obviously gives a little bit of variety to what we talk about on the show. So, in terms of my OCD, the common misconception that I feel like people tend to have is that they think that OCD is very, I guess, hyper focused. Like, because a lot of the times it's portrayed in movies and TV shows as like the person that has to like clean a doorknob like 15 times or
Yeah.
relock it 20 times before they leave the house, or they're hyper cleaning and everything has to be in its place. Granted, those are forms of OCD. And granted, I think, and again, check with a mental health professional on this, but those tend to be the more extreme side of things. So the biggest thing I've learned about my OCD, especially diagnosing this in the past, one, it's actually hereditary. So you actually can pass OCD down through generations. I don't exactly know if my mom has OCD because she's never gone to therapy. She's never really done like mental health. How do you say it? Like, she's never put a focus on her mental
Right,
health, I
yeah.
guess is like
Yeah.
the best way to say
I
it.
was pretty common with
trying
the
to get
older
that.
generations too.
Yeah. And so I don't really know if I got my OCD from my mom or like my father. It's just, you know, it's kind of one of those unknowns for me. I do know that my son, however, does have OCD.
Yeah.
And sorry, kiddo, that's my fault. So, but it was something actually my therapist and his therapist actually both had explained to us that, you know, OCD actually is hereditary. You can pass that down. So with me, my OCD is not on the hyper level of OCD's spectrum. It is more of just and this is really what OCD is you build these kind of rituals because then you feel like something bad's going to happen. So if you don't do these rituals, then in your brain it tricks you into thinking, okay, well, if you don't do this is going to happen. And the whole reasoning doesn't make sense. Like it will not. So in the case of my son, he has these like weird rituals that he has to do. And he, like, for example, one of them is anytime he's like coming and going from our house, or me specifically leaving, it has to be, okay, I'll wave at you at the window. And it's like, if I don't wave at him at the window, he like gets upset because he thinks, okay, well, now something bad's gonna happen. And I don't really know what the bad is in his head, but it's a ritual that he kind of has to do. And we're in the stage of his OCD working that we are now starting to have to challenge his triggers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been the hardest part because obviously you deal with the breakdown, you deal with the like for lack of a better term, freak out for oh my gosh, this bad thing's gonna happen now
Yeah.
because you won't let me do my ritual trigger, I get, or
Yeah.
ritual prevention or whatever it's
Yeah.
called. But truthfully, with me, in terms of my OCD, mine is very. It deals with a lot of organization. So I guess that's probably why I don't really view my OCD as a problem. I guess to everybody else around me, it can be a problem because I'm on the spectrum of you need to put that away. You need to do it this way. And if you don't, I get really frustrated.
Yeah.
So a couple examples of how I kind of realize my OCD is in play. So I think I've mentioned this before in one of our episodes. My planner is a very big form of OCD with me. So I have a very specific way that I do my planner. I have stickers for headers. I color code everything. I have like arrows and lines and stuff like that. If I don't have time in my week to do my planner and I have to just write things in there, I wind up finding that I don't like doing my planner because it's not the ritualistic way that I
you
do it.
Yeah.
And in my head, the one thing that causes that, I guess, ritual for me is, well, what if somebody sees my planner and it's not pretty?
Yeah.
Which is the stupidest thing that you could ever think of because it's like, it doesn't matter. It's my personal planner. Who
Yeah.
the hell cares what the person walking in sees my planner and what it looks like?
Yeah.
The fact is, I'm even using a planner to organize my life.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my weird thing about that is I literally start thinking, well, what if that happens? And then it's like I feel this weird sense of shame that my planner's not pretty.
Mhm.
It's just like,
Yeah.
which obviously to you two, you're both like, who the fork cares?
Yeah.
Like, you just-
Yeah.
I was like, that was just going through my head. I mean, when we did the ADHD episode, you were like comparing your OCD to what our ADHD was. And that right there, if I don't have time to do my planner the way I want to do my planner, I can scribble things in and it's fine. The issue for me lies when I don't scribble things in because then I can't function.
Yeah.
I can't focus
Yeah.
on anything. I have to have some sort of not even I can scribble everything down in my planner and then never open it the entire week.
Oh yeah, see,
Oh,
I can't do that.
I will. I've tried starting a planner so many times with great intentions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even make it a week.
No,
will,
yeah,
like-
I
Write it out and then I will just not look at it again.
yeah, I will scribble everything out, and then it will literally just live in my laptop bag all week.
But see, that's like the total opposite with me with my OCD is, and so that's like another trigger with my OCD is that I have to look at my planner. So like every day that I come into work, because I do my planner for the week. I don't do it day by day. So
Yeah.
that's kind of 50-50. So I have my weekly planner and then I have my daily planner.
Right.
So my weekly planner, I do that one day for the entire week.
Yeah.
And normally at the end of the month, that takes me longer because I have to lay out my entire month and then go week by week
Yep.
within the month. So for me, my biggest thing is as soon as I get to work, the planner comes out. I look at my planner, see what is scheduled for the day, and then as I go through my emails at work, I then add whatever meetings and other to-do things that pop up into my planner.
Mm-hmm.
So then my daily planner is, and this is kind of the way that I explain it, is so like my monthly spread in my planner is basically the everything I have going on that month. Then I break it down into the week segments where then I plan out the week and all the appointments and everything that I have within those weeks.
Yeah.
And then when I get to work or I'm at home, I then do a daily planner, which then at that point is everything I have to take care of that day. And I mentioned this before, I think in a previous episode, I can't remember, but I color code everything.
Mhm.
So whatever day I'm on, I use the color of that day in order to write out my to-do list. Then when I move on to the next day, I write anything that's left over onto the new day in the same color from the previous day, but then anything new that's getting added on for that day is then in the new day's colors. So then by the end of the week, I know what task was still from Monday.
Yeah.
But then anything that I obviously don't accomplish by the end of day Friday then gets moved back over to Monday, and it just starts the color process all over again. So every single Monday is always one block of color. So that way I just know, okay, these projects have kind of moved throughout the timeline. And so that also in itself is my form of OCD, because it's like, then I feel like if I don't have those color codes and combinations and things like that, then I'm like, oh, then I'm going to forget something, or I'm going to miss a deadline.
Yeah.
And so all of those little minute things are my OCD at play, which is really hilarious to me, because again, it's not really, I guess the negative of it affecting my life is the fact that I start freaking out, and then it bolsters my anxiety, because then I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm forgetting something. What am I forgetting? I had something important to do today. Why does this day sound familiar? And then I just become like a complete wreck.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, for example, I think it was like December 7th. I'm sitting there and I'm like, something important is supposed to go on today. What's going on today? I don't know what's going on. And it's just like, and it's because I haven't done my planner like in the last couple months, because just life has been so hectic. And so this day rolls around, and I remember talking about it previously, but then I don't remember what is so significant about this day. And it freaks me out.
Yeah.
So then I'm sitting there anxiety ridden, because I'm like, I know I forgot something important. Then the end of the day happens. Nothing important was supposed to happen. So I spent the entire day freaking out over nothing.
Yeah.
And it winds up becoming that ritual. Well, if I don't do my planner, then I'm going to forget something important.
Yeah.
And it's this whole ritualistic habit. But aside from planning, I also have very OCD ways of doing house chores as well. And it's kind of funny, because you two are not going to be able to relate to this with your
No,
ADHD.
not at all.
Probably
So
not.
we had a discussion about this when we went out to eat one time, because you were talking about how in your household there is the situation of taking out the trash. It's like you will break it down into multiple steps.
Yeah.
And for other people, they'll just go and do it.
Mhm.
And so for me, it becomes a ritual of how many things can I get done in between taking out the trash and then coming back, you know? So with me, I can never just take out the trash. I have to do about 4 other tasks in between taking out the trash.
Yeah.
So it's like, first, when I take out the trash, I take the trash bag out, I walk around, have to put trash, like just random trash around the house that I might spot, into the trash bag that I'm about to take out. Then it becomes, okay, well, I have to go downstairs into the basement. So what needs to go downstairs into the basement with me? So that way, as I'm walking downstairs, I can put stuff away that's in the basement, since I'll already be down there. Then it's like, okay, go take out the trash. And then it's like, okay, well, what needs to be done in that area?
Mhm.
And so in my head, as I'm mapping out my route to have to go take out this trash, I'm also thinking about all of the little things in between there that I can get done
Yeah.
as I'm taking out the trash.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not like you guys where I will leave the room of the trash and then all of a sudden forget about it. It's
Yep.
I will
Yeah, that's
actually
me.
get all these things in between that done, and I have to do that. Or else, to me, I look at the trash can and I go, I don't need to take that out right now. So it's just because like there won't be anything in between to do.
Yeah.
And it's a very weird OCD habit that I
Mhm.
have, because then if I don't do it, the negative is like I officially don't want to take out the trash, because there's nothing else to do in between all of that. So it's a very, I guess for me, it's a very minute case of OCD. It's not, which is why I say it's very underlying, because it's not a main issue.
Yeah.
I know the OCD's there, and I guess like in a weird way, I might not be emphasizing it enough, but it does freak me out, and it does bolster my anxiety when like I don't do things this certain way. And
Yep.
that's kind of where the OCD side kicks in, is that I can never just take out the trash.
Yeah.
Like I have to go and like do some kind of multi-cleaning ritual in order for it to happen. And it's funny because talking to my mother about it, she's like, "Oh, it's just you're disciplined." I'm like, no, because disciplined people will not be bothered by the fact that you can't do multiple
Yeah.
cleaning processes in between that. Like, I legitimately get bothered. I'm like, I don't want to take out the trash.
I don't
That's a
have-
waste of my time.
I don't have anything else to do.
I don't have anything else to do on top of that. And you know what? If I can't figure out what else needs to be done on top of that, something's going to be forgotten about. And I don't like that idea.
Yeah.
So it's funny because then, talking to my mom, she's like, "Oh yeah, you just have a really good form of discipline." No, I'm legitimately bothered by the fact that I can't clean 4 other rooms in my house as I'm taking out the trash. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
it's a very big thing. And then, like, also having things in their place. If I rearrange something, I have to do it in a way where I know my OCD is going to be comfortable with it.
Mhm.
I can never just move a chair into a corner because to me, I'm like, oh, that's so different. Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah.
And it bothers me. So a really good example of how I am about everything in its place and basically keeping things the same, my characters in Baldur's Gate
They're
are
the
a
same every
really good
time.
example of this.
They're the same every single
Mhm.
time.
Every single time.
And she can make them so fast.
Yeah, I literally know exactly how my character is going to look. Though, surprisingly enough, the one that takes me the longest when it comes to creating my character is the name. Like, the
Yeah.
name is what takes me the longest. So, with Baldur's Gate, when I first started playing, I didn't do the mods. I played the game just bare bones. Like, we blew through storylines and side quests and things like that because obviously we were focused on trying to let me see the Astarion content. So we kind of did the game bare bones, just got through it. So I learned the mechanics, knew how to play. And then eventually my other playthroughs, I started modding. So for me, you see the progression of my character,
Mhm.
but there are certain things that I refuse to change.
Yeah.
So, i.e., her camp clothing, it's always Minthara's. I always take Minthara's camp clothing no
Yep.
matter what. So, as we're about to play Baldur's Gate, I'm not happy with you romancing Minthara because she won't let me keep her camp clothing. It's going to throw me off so bad.
Sorry. Not
Sorry, not
sorry.
sorry.
Absolutely not sorry.
So I always have her camp clothing. That is my outfit for camp. My hair obviously matches my real life hair. It's
Mhm.
green and black. I'm a tiefling race. I play a rogue in every single one, and I use what is it called? It's what's her name? Shar. It's her.
Shadowheart?
No. It's
Oh.
Shar's like black silver armor thing.
Mhm.
But yes, I use that outfit for I use different variations of that outfit, but
Yeah.
it's always that outfit as
Yeah.
my character's clothing. Pale looking tiefling. She's got like not the red skin, but normal pale skin. She's got green flame eyes. She has green and black hair. She's got like the Maleficent style black horns. She plays rogue class. Sometimes I will do a subclass, but the main class is always a rogue. And then, of course, I romance Astarion. And then every single one of my characters, if you look at my save files, all of the names start with a Z.
Mhm.
So that is my OCD in play. And
Yep.
it's funny because both Red Rebecca over here and Kuma will literally sit there and be like, "You should try this class. You'll have fun with it. You should try to do this class." And I'm like, "No, I'm gonna keep playing a rogue," which is why my shirt is so accurate. And so for those of you that can't see it because you're just on the podcast, I am wearing a green shirt that says Rogue Shady Taverns Shady Taverns and Tragic Backstories, which is true. Like it's totally my thing is Shady Taverns and Tragic Backstories, which is probably why I love Astarion so much. But I play rogue and everything. Like even in our actual physical tabletop game of D&D, I am a rogue.
Yeah.
Like I literally play the same thing over and over again. And in my head, I'm like, I like this. This is okay.
Why change it?
Why change it?
Yeah.
You know, like and then it's funny because I will do subtle things. Like, so my character will try different hairstyles. And in order to get over my OCD, because I don't want to change the hairstyle, but I'm like trying to experiment and in a weird way fight my OCD triggers,
Yeah.
I will do something subtle like that, which is change the style of hair. So if you guys remember that one character I had, Zarathustra, she had the side braid.
Gesundheit.
Yes. That was good.
Yeah, like I said, I come up with crazy Z names. Zarathustra had her like side braid basically, and then my current one, Zexion, she has the kind of pinned back, just long hair,
Yeah.
like hairstyle. And so it'll be little subtle things that I'll do that I change that, and it's my way of fighting against my OCD trigger. But oh my god, does it take me forever to finally accept the fact that I like this. Like
Yeah.
I have to, in a weird way, I have to convince myself that I like this, because looking at my character right now, like Zarathustra versus Zexion, I'm like, they both look amazing. And I also wound up changing Zexion's eyes, where normally I use the blackout kind of green flame.
Yeah.
I think they're the dragon eyes or
Mhm.
demon eyes. So she had those. Zarathustra had those versus Zexion. She actually has like the silver or the green elf eyes,
Yeah.
and so she has like the normal white and then the green elf eyes versus Zarathustra had the black with the green flame.
Yeah.
And so as I'm like going through these character changes from like one to the other, so when I went from Zarathustra to Zexion and I did the look change on that, and they're very subtle changes. Like you can still tell that's my character,
Yeah.
because the hair is still green or black with green highlights, and you know she's wearing the exact same outfit, same rogue class, Z names, all that stuff. But those little changes to me, I'm sitting there going, oh, I don't know if I like this. And then I have to fight myself to not go back to the look that
And
I'm
change it.
so used
Yeah.
to playing
And
with.
I am over here just like each time I
It's a
build a new
different-
character, like I knew I was gonna play a redeemed Dark Urge, so I made her look bright and happy, and I did a subtle like bird flying face tattoo on her for like this symbol of becoming free. And then
Yeah.
as my characters move forward in their stories, I add like different scars to them to like show their progression. And I'll just be laying there in bed at night like, this is a story I want to do with a character, and then I'll start a new campaign, and
Yeah.
I'm like very meticulous. Like this is their look to match their backstory that I have for them, and they're so all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the total opposite of me, because it's like, I don't care what story I give my character, she's gonna look this way. I'm just like, I don't care whether her look matches or not. Like, she's gonna look evil regardless of whether she's playing good. I
Yeah.
mean, it's I don't know. Like for me, it's just I'm content with it. I don't feel like I need to break away from it. So when I do force myself to break away, I struggle with it so much. And as I'm getting into the cutscenes with Astarion, in my head, I'm like, Astarion doesn't like this look. I'm like so hard on myself, which obviously Astarion doesn't care. Like he loves you for you regardless. But like, in my head, I'm telling myself all the bad things that like is happening right now because I did this one subtle change to my character's look. Like in a weird way, in my head, I'm like, Astarion's telling me to go back to my other hairstyle. Like
Yeah.
it's the weirdest ritual thing I have. It makes, and listening to this story, it makes no sense. Like Astarion doesn't actually have a physical opinion. Like he
Yeah.
has a character script that literally will love and accept you no matter what.
Even a gnome.
Yeah. And yet it's one of those things that in my head I'm like, worst case scenarios possibly happening. Astarion thinks I'm ugly.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Well, and it was funny because I realized I've watched you play or played with you so much through like all of your characters that you've created. We started a new playthrough, a Dark Urge playthrough with me, and I created a character. Not even like I just went through and I was like, yeah, I like this, I like this, I like that, I like these clothes, da 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 da. Went through everything. We get out there and she's like, "You're just me with purple hair." I was like, oh yeah, I didn't realize that. Sorry.
Yeah, literally
bad.
same hairstyle, same clothing, same eye look. It's just purple.
Purple instead of green.
Yeah.
That's the
I'm-
only difference.
Yeah. And on top of that too, this is the one playthrough where somebody is playing with me and I am not romancing Astarion.
She's letting me romance him in this one.
I am letting her romance just so she can experience his joy and love and just did you
I just pinched my fingers. We're good.
okay.
Nice recovery.
Yeah. Good job there.
They were stuck. I couldn't get them back out.
I swear, all the people on the podcast are going to be like, you literally have a microphone in front of you. How did you pinch your fingers?
Because this chair is turning and it turned by itself and my fingers were in there.
Tired of things turning by themselves in this house.
Telling you. I got a shiver earlier.
Sure.
Oh my. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, and that's the other half of my OCD trigger is like I refuse to romance anybody else because I'm just
Mhm.
like, no, Astarion's it. He's my man. I've hyper focused on him. That's it. That's the end of that story. Obviously, like I'll go through and I'll like see or experience the scenes like with other characters, but I then have to put Astarion's skin on him, so that way it's like the Be Anyone mod. I have to use that on those characters in order for me to get through those cutscenes, and even then I won't fully save the file. I will
Yeah.
do like a hard save just so I can watch it, but then I'll never keep the save that takes place after. I'll just go back and then reject them and then go on with my story.
So I've tried because I mean I appreciate all the characters, and I'll be like, okay, this time I'm gonna start. I want to romance Gil this time, and then Astarion holds a dagger to my neck on the beach, and then my plan goes out the window. Yep, it is
Fair.
what it is.
Yeah, but like it's for you, it's just like that's just your love for that character. With me, it's like, nah, this works. I don't need to change that. I'm
Mhm.
just like, it's not broken. I ain't gonna fix it. And if it is broken, I'm perfectly happy with it being broken. Like it's just like So for me, it's such a weird kind of ritualistic thing that I do that
Mhm.
even translates into my video games. Like
Yeah.
I won't like Destiny 2 when I was big into Destiny 2, Hunter class. Hunter. I don't care what subclass I was playing, I'm just always a hunter.
Yeah.
And then so it was funny because then when I had to do like the other subclasses, because of course I was like a normal Destiny player where, you know, I had like all three classes.
Mhm.
I had a warlock and a titan, and like any time that we would go through, because we were fairly competitive in my clan. Like
Mhm.
when we played Destiny, like we would actually do like first day raids, things like that.
Yeah.
And it was funny because like as we kept like kind of going through and I would have to be the different subclasses, I would just have not different subclasses, the different classes. I would just be the most miserable person on the face of the earth because I'm like, this class is slow, this class sucks, this class doesn't have any fun like subclasses or
Mhm.
what. Like and then I had to force, and granted I wasn't saying that, but that was like what was going on in my head.
Right. Yeah.
And it's funny because I then had to, in order to combat that, I had to actually just sit there and force myself to play through it and basically find the things that I liked about that subclass. But then it became ritualistic with that, where I would only play that subclass for those characters because
Yeah.
that was like Warlock Nova Bomb. Done. Like I just yeet this giant like Nova ball at you, and it's just like, yay, things exploded. Like,
See, and I don't know if this is an ADHD thing. I've heard people mention it before, but again, I'm not an expert. But people pleasing is a big tendency when it comes to having ADHD and just
I can see
wanting
that.
to
Because
make.
I'm definitely a people pleaser.
I am such a bad people pleaser. So when it comes to video games or D&D, I'll be the person that will gravitate towards the support class. Like I was playing a cleric because I knew no one else would want to play a cleric. No one else really wants the job of being a healer. So I'm like, well, I'll take one for the team. I'll be the support. I'll be the underappreciated support is what I'll do. And I do that
That's
in
true.
video games too. Like if my husband and I are playing video games, I opt to be his support because I'm like, I don't need to be the hero. I need to make people happy and I need
Yep.
to keep people alive. So that's what I gravitate towards. And we're doing a D&D campaign right now where the DM made it a rule we could not talk with the other players over what classes we were going to make.
Oh
We
no.
could not discuss it with them. And so I was forced to kind of go with what I actually wanted to do. And I had a full on breakdown with my husband. I was like, I know I need to be a cleric because I don't think anyone else is going to be a cleric and we need a healer. And he's like, what do you want to do? I said, I want to be a warlock.
So
I want to go out there and I want to throw some eldritch blasts and I want to cause some damage. He's like,
that's what I was play as a warlock.
then
but-
do it.
So what classes do you have in this game? Because now I'm invested.
In what game?
Your D&D game.
I am a warlock.
I know, but like, what's everybody else?
Okay, we have a druid, we have a paladin, we have a rogue, we have a wizard, and I think that's it.
Okay.
We don't really have a full-on healer,
Yeah.
and it is very stressful for me because that is
you're not a
like,
healer.
like I need to support you guys.
Yeah.
I need to fix things. I
Yeah.
need to make sure everyone's alive and happy and fed.
And that's the total opposite of me, which I think is probably why I associate with the rogue class so well. Because like rogue personality types in general are very selfish and very just like, I don't care about you. This benefits me. Like
Yeah.
it's a very self-serving mentality. Which, if you know me in real life, that's actually the farthest thing from my actual personality. I'm actually a very big like if you are somebody that I'm close with or my friend or family, I very much take care of my people. But that's the one rule about that. You have to be my people. Like
Yeah.
I'm not just I don't care for strangers. It's like, and I know that sounds like a really bad mentality to have, but when I say I don't care about strangers, it's more along the lines of your baggage is your own baggage. I have no business being in your baggage. I'm not going to get involved in your baggage. So good luck to you.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't have empathy and it's not that I don't care about their struggles because obviously I do.
Mhm.
It's just more of I'm not the kind of person that's going to sit there and I guess baby you or put effort into that because we don't have that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing about it. Like obviously like if somebody wants to talk to me about, their mental health, I'm opted to listen.
Mhm.
But am I going to go to the same extent for them as I would for you? No.
Yeah.
Nobody in their right mind does that. Like because on top of that too, it's a very personal thing. Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to be extremely personal with somebody I don't know. So
Yeah.
with you being the people pleaser that you are,
Mm.
you would probably put in a little more effort in that situation versus me. There's a line that I'm not willing to cross.
Yeah.
And so it's a very different shift in mentality. So for me, when I'm always playing my rogue class, I associate with that character very well because I'm like, unless you're my person, I'm going to pickpocket the shit out of you. Like, it's
And
just
my
like-
well-being will be completely stomped in the mud before I feel like I can actually tell someone no.
Yeah,
Same.
yeah, and that's the very big difference between you and me on that personality wise. Like I'm like, sorry, there's a line. Like,
But I mean, I also do understand what you're saying because I've come to learn to protect my peace in the last couple of years, and I've had
Mhm.
to push people away and tell them no, and just realize that this person's not okay for me and my
Yeah.
family. But then there's like you guys, and yesterday you were planning a big event for your work, and of course I was driving down and I hit traffic in Kansas City. So I'm sitting in the middle of downtown Kansas City. Well, we weren't like quite downtown, but Sprint Center area.
Downtown adjacent.
Yeah. And so I'm sitting in traffic trying to get to her house, and she's freaking out because her OCD and anxiety has caused her to freak out. So I would normally never, in the middle of traffic in Kansas City, grab my phone and send her a voice message, or send anybody a voice message
Yeah.
being like, okay, breathe. I know that sounds stupid and doesn't help you, but like for real, breathe. So I told her, I was like, go into the bathroom, go find somewhere where you could be. And then I told her, go through her grounding steps, da 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 da. I would never do that for most people.
yeah, I'd be like, you can wait.
Yeah.
Like, is it? Are you about to end your life? No. Okay, you can
All right,
wait.
yeah, I'll
Like,
talk to you in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And that is kind of because you pointed it out specifically, it's how did you say it? It's you protected your own mental health, because like
Yes.
you're already in the middle of a stressful
Yeah.
situation,
Protect my
and
peace. Yeah.
that's the biggest thing about it too, is it's exactly like you said. It's not that I don't care about people and what they're going through. It's just we aren't close enough to where your struggles have to become my struggles.
Yeah.
I think that's a really big part of it, and we might deep dive this in a later episode, is that you need to also protect your mental health.
Mhm.
And that's the biggest thing about it, is that when you are taking on loads of just baggage from other people,
Mhm.
it winds up tainting your mental health. And that's a very big thing, especially with OCD, is that it's very misunderstood, because a lot of people will just be like, oh, that's just her habits, that's just her discipline.
Yeah.
But the reality is, in my head, there's a lot of different struggles that are going on. And granted, they all don't make sense, i.e. my Baldur's Gate characters. But they give me a sense and a peace of mind.
Yeah.
And surrounding myself with people that are willing to just put up with that, it can sometimes be detrimental, because if they're too on the supportive side of the spectrum, where they're realizing that, okay, this isn't doing you any good, but they let me keep doing it,
Yeah.
that's a bit dangerous. But then
Right.
when you have like the people that are willing to tell you, hey, you should probably do something else,
Mhm.
that's a good set of support that you should be willing to have, because it's one of those things where it gives you the balance of what is okay to deal with on your OCD versus like what you should try to maybe challenge in terms of a trigger.
Yeah.
Now if y'all try to challenge me in terms of my character, we gonna fight, because I'm like, there's no way
No,
you're
no, no,
gonna
no.
convince me that playing a rogue is a bad idea. Especially since that game involves so much lockpicking and persuasion that's exactly what rogues are
Yep.
adept at. I'm just like, yeah, no, sorry, you're not gonna convince me to do this.
Yep.
So I keep on rocking with my charisma characters.
Yeah. And so, but see, that's what I have Astarion for. He's very high on the charisma scale. So I'm just like, he's fine. I'll just use him for that. Me and Astarion are a team. No, I'm not even kidding. Like when we play, so I also have like this ritualistic way of playing with Astarion. So since both me and him, I actually keep Astarion as a rogue.
Yeah.
So I know other people will like change classes and things like that, but I keep him as a rogue. And so with Astarion, obviously rogues have the sneak attack ability in Baldur's Gate. For me, depending on which one of us goes first, because obviously our initiative rolls tend to differ, but it's normally always me and Astarion running first. And so one of us, so for example, if Astarion rolls first, I will move him to the enemy I want to attack. And a
Yeah.
lot of the time, since I play modded, I have the AoE spells and things like that already. So I will have Astarion pull off an AoE spell, so we're doing damage to multiple enemies. Then I will have him next to the character I plan on attacking, move my rogue in, have her sneak attack the one that Astarion is standing next to, so I get the sneak attack. And then the rest of my party pretty much just does whatever. But that is literally my ritualistic way of playing, is
Yeah.
that it's me and Astarion, and everybody else is just there for support. Just like so I find it kind of funny, but that's literally the way I play it. Like, and a lot of the times with the other characters, I'm like, this sounds fun. I'm gonna try this fireball spell,
Yeah.
and then just like fireball the crap out of something. But with me and Astarion, it's a very particular way of playing. Like those two are always in the battlefield, cohesive with each other,
Yes.
and so
Can vouch. I've
Yeah.
seen that.
yes, it is a very realistic, like ritualistic way of me
Yep.
playing with Astarion.
And my paladin goes in and goes whack, and then Astarion's like, okay, sneak attack.
yeah,
Whack.
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
that's always fun. All right, what's your action this round? Whack.
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 Yeah. As a warlock, I like to do a lot of the spells and stuff. So that's just,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
Yeah,
what
me
I
as a
find very
warlock.
interesting.
What's your action? You're never gonna guess. So, anyways, I started blasting.
Yeah.
Accurate.
There was literally one time we were playing that she literally, so we were trying to sneak around in this, oh, it was the crush.
It was.
It was the crush. So we're sneaking in, like we're just getting into the crush, and so you haven't seen this yet.
Yeah,
so,
this is over my head.
And hopefully we play with her because you will experience the exact same thing I went through.
Is
So
it a
there's
spoiler?
there's
Do I need to la
no,
la
there,
la?
there
Nah,
isn't
Okay.
no, there isn't a spoiler. So we're sneaking into the crush basically, and there's a room full of what are they called?
Fire wine barrels.
Thank you, fire wine barrels. So we're sitting there, and there's a room full of them.
Mhm.
Monsters kind of just splayed out all across the
Kobolds.
room. Yeah,
Yeah.
just splayed out across the room, and we go in there, and we're getting into position because all of them are asleep.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, just barrels start exploding. Everything's on
Fireball.
fire. Our characters are burning, and we're like, "What the hell?" And she's just launching fireballs left and
Hey,
right. And
you
I'm
lived
like,
and all the enemies died. It worked.
and we're sitting there going, if you were going to do that from the beginning, why the hell did we bother getting in position? And she goes, I just thought about it.
I just thought.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, well, what if?
I just realized that I need a shirt like your rogue shirt, but it says Warlock, and then I just be blasted.
Just be blasted. Eldritch blasted.
Yeah.
I need my spellcaster shirt that says, I didn't ask how big the room is. I said cast fireball.
That is very accurate to playing with her as a warlock.
I'm getting on Etsy after this. I'm gonna find me something,
Oh my gosh.
and if I can't, then I'll just make it.
Yeah, no, this shirt that she got me is literally my favorite shirt to wear. Like, 'cause it's so true to my personality. I love my tragic backstory.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Like my D&D character, it was so funny because like as I was building my D&D character and then eventually we started telling each other like our background stories for our characters and stuff, everybody, I kid you not, looked over at me and they were like, "Why is it so dark?" And they were just like, it was like so tragic. And all of them were like, "You were so twisted." Like, so to give you guys a concept of how dark this type of stuff can get. So my rogue is like she's a tiefling, shocker. But she's
Who
also
would've thought?
but she's also a half vampire in this one.
Okay.
So basically her backstory is, and she has two shadows, by the way. So she's a phantom rogue class, and basically she one night her and her family were at home, and basically they got attacked.
Mhm.
And what happened is like they killed her family right in front of her eyes, and they cut off her tail because like basically these people were trying to sell the body parts and stuff on black markets and
Gotcha.
things like that. So they targeted my family. They killed my husband, they killed my children in front of me. And basically this power awoke inside of me, which is how I gained my phantom abilities, and I wound up killing these like mercenaries that attacked my family.
Mhm.
So when that power awakened, my children's souls were the ones that became my shadows, which is why they were bound to me.
Okay.
And then I wear the ring of my former husband around my neck. So that was like my backstory. And basically I told all of them that, and they were just like, "Why is it so tragic?" They were like so as our like D&D like Christmas like Friendsgiving pretty much got together,
Yeah.
this is the shirt that she gets me because it's
Yeah.
just so accurate. And I'm like, I mean, have you ever really known a rogue that doesn't have a tragic backstory? I mean, just look at
Accurate.
Astarion. Like, he's like
My first warlock backstory was pretty cool, but then she died. So now I was just a halfling, a little nice little southern halfling who just wants to smack anyone who hurts her friends. That's her MO. That's
Yeah.
what she
I
does.
love it when you talk with a southern accent.
Thank you.
But mind you, in our D&D campaign, I am the only one with my original starting character. These guys have died like 5 times already and made new characters
Oh my
each
goodness.
and every time. And I'm
'Cause
just like,
I've got to protect my friends. I got to make sure that they stay alive and they don't stay alive, and I just go down with them.
yeah. Versus me, I'm looking at this like, all right, new party. Like, it's just, Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. Like they all have died so many times, and I'm just sitting here with my original character I started with because I'm just like, although I did almost die once, but then she wound up reviving me.
You're welcome.
Yeah, she did wind up
Coming in
reviving
clutch.
me. So yeah, she did come in clutch on that one because
Clerics,
yeah.
forever underappreciated.
Yeah. No, I appreciated
We-
that cleric. I'd appreciate
we-
it more, but she's dead.
No,
we
this one's
need to
alive.
make a line of shirts for each class.
Yes.
That would be so fun.
Yes.
All right, there we go. There's another store item for us. It's just D&D class shirts.
Yeah,
Although
all,
although I'm gonna have to figure out something different for Rogue because this one obviously already exists. So
Right.
all the
I'm
wizards down again. Here's some guidance. Go get them.
yeah,
Here you go. Here's a bless.
yep. So we'll have to figure that out. But anyways, so back to the OCD stuff. I think in all honesty, the best ways that I kind of deal with the OCD is, truthfully, first step, recognizing that it's there.
Mhm.
Acknowledgement is a very big part of it, and you have to be willing to admit that this is my OCD at play. Which, granted, getting there, not an easy thing to do, because a lot of the times you do think that this is just a habit, that you are just comfortable doing things this way.
Yeah.
But you have to realize and accept the fact that is there. So in my case, when I deal with it, I will do the subtle little different changes. And I then also have to mentally sit there and kind of meditate on the fact that, okay, well, if I do this, what's really the worst case scenario possible?
Yeah.
So like for instance, with my characters, when I change their appearance, like just minimally, and I have to go through that whole, oh yeah, Astarian's gonna think this is ugly because it's not what he's used to seeing. It's more of, for me, I have to sit there and remind myself, okay, this is scripted. He's going to like whatever your character looks like. It's okay.
Mhm.
Like, it's the same way as I don't go to work every day with the same exact hairstyle. Like,
Yeah.
I will mix up the way I look. This is my character doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So I have to kind of walk myself through the actual realistic logic of what happens if I do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So that, and trust me, that that way of mentally getting over my OCD is probably the hardest, because I can then think of different reasons that things can go wrong in between those logical steps.
Yep.
So it gets a little challenging, but it also comes with like years of therapy and practice on these techniques that I've learned to kind of counter my OCD. So with my planner, it's the same thing. Okay, what's the worst case scenario that, I scribble in my planner? It's somebody comes and sees it and thinks that it's not a nice looking planner. Yeah, okay, so what's the big deal if they think that? Well, then they won't think I'm creative. Why do you need them to think you're creative? Good question. It's just
Yeah.
and eventually I hit that logic point where it's like, okay, that, like, you're overthinking this.
Mm-hmm.
Calm your stuff down. Go scribble in your planner, And so it'll be stuff like that where I have to walk each step through my logic.
Yeah.
And once I get there, it's fine. Which is why, like, when we were talking in the first episode of you and tacos and Marco, I was like, my OCD is not processing this. Why would you put something I like with something that we all don't like? And then you say it's a crunchy taco, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like, there's the logic that basically told my OCD you can calm down now, because it was just like, nobody likes crunchy tacos other than you. But
I would say I like crunchy tacos.
yeah, no, oh God, I don't know why we're
They're too
friends.
crumbly.
Huh?
They're too crumbly. It quickly becomes just like a taco salad.
Stabby tacos. I don't like them because they injure me.
Unless they're Dorito shells.
Those
You
are good.
Those are
I don't like anything that injures me while I'm eating.
That's fair.
I like to enjoy my food, not be tortured by it.
That's fair.
I can't say the same.
That's why I was sitting here going, that's fair.
That's fair. Can't relate.
Oh my God. You two
Nothing
are
wrong with a
ridiculous.
little pain here and there.
Oh my gosh. You two are ridiculous. This is what I put up with, by the way, just so all of
This
you are
this
fully
is a
aware.
mild
This
case.
is extremely
This
mild.
is extremely mild. But if you think this is wild, just imagine what I normally put up with that we can't put on air or on camera. So just FYI.
Oh, I can share a real quick story of how this goes.
Oh God. Okay.
Okay. So we went and we got this rug for the podcast, right? And we got back here, and Adela always drives.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, she's the driver.
Forever passenger princess.
Passenger princesses.
Yep.
That's what we are with our iced coffee.
To be honest with them, I wouldn't trust them to drive me around anyways.
Passenger princess with our
Passenger
coffee.
princess.
So we get back here, and she's backing in, and she's like, we got to get the rug out of the back. So Rebecca and I get out, and we get the rug, and she grabs one side, I grab the other, and we're just carrying it. And I don't know what happened, but
We just looked at each other.
we both started dying laughing all the way in here, laughing, like trying not to fall to the ground, laughing, trying not to pee our pants, laughing, and all we were doing was carrying a rug.
That's all it took. That's all it took.
And we came in here, and then our producer, I don't know what just happened. My brain quit working.
It just crashed. Reboot it.
Marcus, Kuma, whatever.
Markuma.
Markuma. Anyway, we walked in here, and he's like, "Are you guys okay?"
No. No. My core strength has never been stronger.
I know.
It's been so nice.
So on my end, I drive a big truck, and basically, so for me, I had to have them get it out because in order to get the truck into my garage, I can't let down the tailgate because my truck's really big. It barely fits in my garage, but
Yep.
it fits. So I back in, get out of the truck. I walk in, and these two are just rolling on the floor laughing, and I'm just like, "What did I miss?"
Nothing.
And they're like, "Nothing," and they're laughing so hysterically they can't talk.
We're crying.
And I'm looking at Marcus, and I'm like, "What did I miss?" And he's like, "I don't know. They just walked in here laughing." And I was
It'd be
like,
like that.
"Okay." And so finally, they get to a point where they can speak again, and I'm just like, "What did I miss?" And they're like, "Nothing. We were just carrying the rug, and we just started busting up laughing." And I'm like, "So neither of you gave each other a dirty look, nothing was said, you
Nope.
literally were just carrying this rug?" And they were like, "Yeah." So I went, "Okay."
I was just imagining
That's
little
my day.
cartoon workers that just go hop, 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 as we're carrying the rug inside.
And then she started giggling, so then I started giggling. And then it all went downhill from there.
Yeah.
It usually does.
Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff I put up with. I literally, and so I'm always standing there just going, "All right, this is how it's going to be." So when I say that I'm the normal one, it's because I am the normal one out of the three of us.
Yeah.
Although we did actually have a very interesting conversation a couple days ago where we figured out our personality types in relation to Baldur's Gate,
Oh, yeah, we did.
which makes me so proud because we have all decided that I'm the Astarian of the group.
Of course.
Love it. Red Rebecca over here is the Gale of the group, and then BugBee is actually Karlak. So personality wise, I'm very much Astarian. I am sarcastic, I am witty, I am just
Yep.
I can be very charming. And truthfully, I am very good at kind of assessing the situation to where I wonder whether it will benefit me or not.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I will lose interest depending on how I feel about it. So, I mean, truthfully, I'm very much an Astarian character in our group. Obviously, like I said, if I trust you, it's because you've earned my trust.
Yeah.
It's not given away so freely. So I very much relate to Astarian on that. And so personality wise and just the way of doing things, I'm very much Astarian, which is very funny because I play around a lot with his lines and I will use them in real world scenarios.
She
And
does.
as we were talking about it, they were like, that makes so much sense because you can just pull Astarian's lines and just place them into any scenario and it's so natural.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, because I have his level of just wit and sarcastic ability to have comebacks,
Yeah.
and so we found that out. Red Rebecca over here is Gail. Want to tell them why?
Books.
What
I
kind of book?
can't talk about that. I mean, I really enjoy fantasy books.
Fantasy books.
I mean, they are. They
I'm giving you a
are.
hard time. I enjoy these fantasy
I know
books
you
too.
do. Like, where is this coming from?
So
Sorry. Go
no,
on.
I was saying, so for those of you that want to know exactly what kind of book she wants, go dive into Gail's story. You'll figure out real quick.
I enjoy a lot of books. I enjoy a lot of sarcasm. I enjoy throwing insults out there that might go over people's heads. It's fun. And then also the crippling anxiety to always succeed big things in life because people have put a lot of pressure on you all throughout your life. But there we go.
Yeah. So she's very much the Gail of our group, and then
Yes.
BugBee over here is Carlac.
And I have not gotten to the point where I'm playing with
The
Carlac
best.
yet.
She's
so
the best. I love her so much.
These gals assigned me Carlac, so I'm gonna let them tell you why I am Carlac.
Such a big heart. God, I love Carlac so much.
I feel very loved right now.
She is amazing. She is such a great character. I would trust you with my life.
I trust you with my life.
So
That might be a little dangerous.
I don't remember what is.
they're
what
trying
was
to
it?
make hearts again. Here we go.
Just be blasted.
That was the worst wizard hand gesture I have ever seen.
It's either a gang sign or casting a spell. I don't know.
That was the worst hand sign. That was the worst wizard hand signs I have ever seen. Maybe we might need to rethink you being the Gale of our group.
Oh my goodness!
Oh
and this
my
is
gosh.
this is exactly what happens between the two of us.
Look. Maybe wizard's the wrong path. I have high
I-
charisma, low
that's
intelligence.
That's why I was saying we need to rethink you being the Gale of our group after that one. That was some bad wizard hand signals. Okay, so
Ignis.
yeah, definitely an Ignis. Oh my gosh. Okay, so why is she the Carlac of our group? I'll let you go first.
Okay. Well, you are fiercely protective of those that you care about.
That's very accurate.
Is definitely a good starting point.
Mhm.
And you are just so upbeat and inspiring, and you are just ready to take life by the horns, for lack of better term, and just go get at it. You have a lot of gumption. lot of spunk.
I'm gonna feel real good about myself here in like 2
Yes.
minutes.
Freaking love Carla.
Carlac's also very protective of Astarion, which you are very protective of me. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, that's a no-brainer. And on top of that, I mean, she's very right. Like, you are the type of person that, you know, no matter what negative situation you're in, you kind of have a positive outlook about it. Like, you make light of it. And it's one of those things where, like, even if it's like a life altering situation, you have the amazing ability to sit there and be like, well, of course, let's get at it. Like, and you just get it done. I mean,
Yeah.
you have a very big go-getter mentality, even though you do struggle internally with like some things. Like, I mean, in Carlac's story, it's, you know, she can't physically be touched by people, and she wants it. She wants to be able to feel loved and things like that, but you know,
Mhm.
obviously,
She has a lot of love to give.
yeah, and honestly, external factors kind of prevent her from doing so, but
Yeah.
without giving away too many spoilers.
Yeah.
But I mean, you are very much like that in a sense where,
Mhm.
you know, you have a lot of love to give. You just also need the right person to be able to give it back.
And
Yeah.
also always seeing the bright side of things. Like,
yeah.
I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but just when things are at its all-time low, she just recites all the things that she got to see,
Mm-hmm.
that she wanted to see. I'm going to start crying. I love her so much.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you are the type of person that people like having in their life because you are always that bright point in their life. Like
Mhm.
I feel that
I'm gonna cry, guys.
I honestly feel that
You deserve to feel this love.
you are a very good light in dark times, and it fits the personality of Carlac very well
Yeah.
because that's who she is. And
Yeah.
truthfully, you are very much that in our group, and I think that that speaks volumes of the kind of character that you are. Versus
You are
me,
not afraid to throw around F-bombs when they're needed.
Yes, very much.
Also
so.
true.
Yeah.
and you'll be pissed if you don't get to join the fight. So
Also true.
Yeah, there's that too. Versus me, I'm just a manipulative son of a bee. But you're super protective of me.
Very.
I'll just sit there and just stop licking the damn thing.
Rotten meat. That's what gets you going. Oh my god. Yeah. So I mean, in all reality, I think it definitely fits. Each of those characters fit our personas very well, and I
Yeah.
think that's probably why we relate and like them so much, with the exception of Carlac with you, but
Right.
because you haven't played yet. But yeah, for me, it's a very big, easy representation of how we deal with a lot of our problems.
Yeah.
Ignore, overcome, ignore,
Survive.
fall off the deep end.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely I would agree that I am generally very positive on the outside, even if I'm the most negative person on the inside,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to be that burden for people.
Yep.
And I will say, for those of you that may actually get to see that side of me, that you're pretty special to me, because I don't let people see that. So,
Yeah.
like, you two, of course, and then a few other good close friends. But
Mm-hmm. Yep.
if I'm calling you having a mental breakdown, you are very special to me.
Yep.
Yeah. 'Cause I don't do that with people. I don't There are very, very few people in this world outside of my husband who have actually seen me upset or
Yeah.
anything other than bubbly and
Mhm.
hi, how can I help you?
Same.
There's very, very few people.
And I think it's kind of funny because I guess this is it's funny because I think this also makes me so relatable to Astarian in the sense too, is that I never really let that side of me show. I mean, it's very rare, and Bugby mostly can vouch for this just because she's seen more of this than you have recently. Because she also has the past before we met you. Um, it takes a lot for me to get to that breakdown point.
Mhm.
And so she knows that if I'm calling her and I've broken down, it's because something big happened. Like,
Yep.
I don't, and granted, I get into my moments of panic and, my anxiety kicks in, but they're never anything I can't deal with. It's
Yeah.
always like, it's just me venting or it's me being frustrated about something. But, like, for instance, with Astarian's storyline, when that biggest moment happens, which I'm not saying because you haven't seen it, and spoilers. So when the biggest moment of his storyline happens, and he gains the thing,
Mhm.
and when that happens, and the emotion behind him, I am very much like that. It has to be that level of just I get how do I say it? Like, it has to be that level of significance for me to break down and just be in that moment where I'm hysterical and I'm crying and I'm almost inconsolable in a way where I
Mhm.
just have to be the one to work through my emotions. Past that, I use a lot of sarcasm to avoid my feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I'm very fluent in sarcasm when it
yeah.
comes to awkward situation, here's some sarcasm.
Yeah.
Inappropriate situation, here's some sarcasm.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm very much that kind of character, which if
Mhm.
you play Astarian's story, that's exactly how he is. Like, he will never talk about how he's actually feeling. He just comes back with some witty, sarcastic comment, and that's
Yeah.
very much me. And so when that moment does finally happen, they are so few and far in between. But the fact that you are one of those people that have seen me in that moment means that you are a person I am comfortable enough to trust. Like, I have chosen you to be a person I trust. And so to me, and this is going to sound a little conceited, but that makes you a very special person in my eyes, because it is a level of importance I have now placed on you, because I deem you, and for lack of a better way of saying this, I apologize for this sounding very conceited, but I have deemed you worthy to be one of those people in my life.
Yep.
And to be honest, as much as that phrase sounds extremely conceited, that honestly is the standard you should have for yourself. You should pick who is worthy enough to be those people in your life and be that person, and somebody that you can consider worthy enough to put your deepest feelings and emotions, fears, and just life into. And I mean, whether that's your spouse or your best friends or just aunt, uncle, mom, dad, whoever, you have to decide who is worthy enough to be part of your life. Like, you shouldn't have to just settle, because you don't deserve to settle. You deserve to be given the best in those scenarios. So truthfully, I think it's a mentality that people really need to start having. And I get that a lot of that comes with the insecurities and, you thinking you're not good enough and things like that. But the reality is, you are good enough, and you really should work on reinforcing that mentality, because whoever is, and this is the way that I see it, is that whoever is worthy enough to be part of your life should be somebody special. And truthfully, whether that's in the capacity of friends or a relationship, you are worth it. And you owe it to yourself to give you the best life has to offer. You shouldn't have to settle on somebody that isn't good enough for you. You shouldn't have to settle on just mediocre. Go for the best, because that's what you deserve. Like, granted, you may not be the most perfect person in the world, but there is no perfection when it comes to people.
Right.
And you have to decide what standards you're not willing to put up with versus the standards that are everything to you, and you should go after those, because it's what you deserve. And you need to see and decide who is worthy of being part of my life. Because at the end of the day, them being part of your life means that you are going to wind up giving them the best in return.
Right.
And I think everybody deserves that. It's a mutual feeling of respect. So I think, truthfully, don't be afraid to basically deem people worthy of being in your life, because at the end of the day, being part of somebody's life, it is something very special and very important, and something that is an honor in a sense, So don't be afraid to look at things that way. Like, I think, in all honesty, it needs to be the mentality where, and I'm the type of person where it's like, you want to walk away from me? Fine. Yeah, it's going to suck, but at the end of the day, I didn't lose anything if you can't understand what you've lost.
Right.
Like, and that's why I also see relationships too. I hate that saying more than anything, because it's such a true mentality of, you never know what you had until you lost it.
Yeah.
To me, I hate that phrase, because you should know what you've had.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have had to lose it in order to find out. And to me, that is a very selfish mentality. And I think it's one that, and granted, I know it might seem like it contradicts, like, the whole, you need to pick who's worthy in your life. But when I say that, I mean in terms of the way you also treat them. Like, you shouldn't have to treat somebody like crap, lose them, and then realize that, oh, I've treated them like crap. That's a really dumb way of looking at it. When you pick people that are worthy of your life, it's because they bring you good in your life. And that's the kind of thing that you want for yourself. So when I say, pick who's worthy enough to be in your life, it means pick the people that are going to be good and support you and lift you up and help you work through these mental health struggles, because that's what you need. You need the Carlac, you need the Gale, you need the Astarian in your life, you need the Shadowheart for all I care.
She's nice. We need God's favorite princess.
No, I won't kill them. Maybe Shadowheart.
I just want to know when this whole episode turned into a therapy session for me.
That normally tends to happen.
Yeah. Just talking with friends,
Yeah,
I know.
I mean, and
you guys-
that's really
yeah,
what
you
this
guys are, like,
podcast is
speaking
about.
to my soul.
Yeah.
And everything that's happening in my life right now.
Yeah.
And to
we've
be
got
honest,
you.
that's what this podcast is about. Like, it's about community. It's about support. It's about just hearing the fact that you're not alone in these struggles. You know,
Yeah.
None of us are.
You're not alone in this. None of us are. It's a brand new day. I'm sure we'll find lots of people for you to kill.
See? She just throws the line in there effortlessly all the time. That was good. I like that.
Honestly, my favorite one is still the Thanksgiving one. The Thanksgiving one was
Yeah, that was really good.
pure gold.
That was good.
That was a good one.
That was
So,
good.
really quick story for that one, so that way we can wrap up this episode. But so on Thanksgiving, she's over. So I'm in Kansas for Thanksgiving, so I'm like 4 hours, 6 hours. No, 4. It's 4. 4 hours away from her. From Red Rebecca, and Red Rebecca's basically cooking this gigantic Thanksgiving meal.
Yes.
And she's talking about how she's got all of these things that she still has to cook. And so in our group chat with Red Rebecca and BugBee and me, she's sitting there and she's like, "Oh my gosh," she's like, "I have so many things I need to cook still." And me, just being the Astarian witty character, go, "What in the sweet hells were you thinking cooking all that food? I'm not there." And she's like, "Oh my gosh," she goes, "I'm so sorry." She's like, I still have so much chaos I need to unleash in the kitchen. And I'm like, "Gods," I was like, "Do you have any idea how upset I am?" And then I follow it up with what was the line? It was "Oh no," and then she goes, "Oh," and then so I said, "Gods, do you have any idea how upset I am?" And then she's like, "I'm sorry." She goes, "Next time," she's like, "I'll try to do a more simple meal." And I go, "Next time? Oh, no, no, no. Next time, I will be eating at your place." Because apparently there's a difference between a nice, simple meal and the full dining experience at your place. And then she just lost it.
It
And
was
she
so
just-
good.
Yeah. She goes, "Oh my God." She's like, "That could not have been more perfect." Because, and I'm not kidding, there were like no pauses in between this
Oh
conversation.
no, it was right back to back.
Yeah,
to back.
it was just back to back to back. And I pulled these lines like nothing. And so that was like the moment they were like, "Yeah, she's the Astarian of the
Yep.
group." Like, there's no getting around that.
Yep.
Like I literally will just pull these lines out of thin air and then just make them work for the situation.
Yep.
It's amazing. But yeah, that's probably my favorite like Astarian back and forth that we've had. It's just the Thanksgiving one because I just manipulated that one so perfectly.
Yep.
It was good.
Yeah, I'm proud of that one. Anyways, all right. So hopefully that story kind of ended this podcast for you guys on a fun note. So anyway, guys and gals and people, thank you all for joining us on this episode. We look forward to the next one. So no matter what, guys, remember, like I said, if you feel that you need the help in therapy or just, talking to somebody, please go out and get that help. Like we really encourage it. So at the end of the day, please remember that you are always
Loved.
You are never alone.
and this is just us being us.